Good afternoon, dear teacher. Continue with the prepositional practice. Planning is very important because it's helpful for the teacher and the student. It is a guidance for the students. Okay. In this video, I'm going to talk about the lesson number 4. Okay. The number 1 is informative date. For example, name of the school, theme in this topic is the theme is the sentence, question, negative and affirmative, past, will, to be. The second is a grade in the first bachelor. Okay, duration of the class is the 40 minutes. Okay, proficient level is intermediate. Okay, lesson plan designed by Maria Paulina. Okay. Number 2, objectives with the skills. Number 1 is listening. In this skill, a student will be able to identify and follow instructions. The second skill is speaking. A student will be able to currently use must to be noun, the present simple, the past, the auxiliary manners of the futures, times, present tense, will be. Okay, continue with the reading skill. The student will be able to recognize affirmation, affirmative, and answer will be to do a concentrations. Okay, with another skill is a writing. With the writing, a student will be able to construct sentence, will be auxiliary, verb to be. Okay, continue with the methodology is important in the lesson plan. Methodology, I use a grammar translation method, a direct method, and task-based learning. Okay. Finally, presentation, practice, production method. This is important in this topic that I use. Strategies is world-class work. Is individual work, pie work. Continue with anticipatory set. Teacher start the class with a conversation about an action that they do every day. Specialty after finish school, at home, or their free time. Okay? What do you do at home? What do you do in free time? And each one of them should answer to the questions. Okay? Make teaching input. And this is a warm-up activity. The teacher will present the new topic to the student and the goal of this class. Okay? Teacher will explain to them why we need to know how works the auxiliary verb to be. Okay? Another teacher show for them two posters with grammar about yes, no, question, how, form, sentence, and so on. Okay? Continue with is a teacher will write on the board some examples to explain then how change of the sentence is a question. Example: Mary is working. Is Mary working? You are tall. Are you tall? Okay. Continue. Then they will give more examples to the right on the board. They will practice with some sentence about what they like to do their free time. Okay. They will do some exercise on the textbook using auxiliary to be. Okay. The teacher walks around checking students, understand and assist students where necessary. Teacher walks in the class of review the task or the work in the class. Okay. Teacher and student check the finding and share them with the classmate. Okay. Continue. Teacher walks around monitoring correct pronunciation. Continue with teacher and students. Conclude the class by review the topic, verify. Okay. Number 3, modeling. Teacher will stick on the board, on the poster to explain in detail and give more examples using the auxiliary to be in the past tense. Example: I was waiting for you while could and you heard. Okay, continue. They were writing, but we were reading the lesson. Okay, and examples. In the question, were they writing? Another, were we reading the lesson? Okay. It's important that recognize a student this time for the continue and other topics. Okay. For example, I write in the board affirmative, negative, and contractions. Affirmative: I am angry. Negative: I am not angry. Contraction: I'm not angry. Okay. Number 4, Guian's practice. A student should do 5 examples of the sentence according to the model given by the teacher in the parts of the model. Okay. Number 5, independent practice. For independent practice, teacher will give a student a worksheet in the which they should put auxiliary verb to be in the blanks. Okay. Number 6, assignment. For this activity, student will, for affirmative orally sentence, then transfer in negative. In question and with contraction, the teacher gives some examples and the student change these examples of affirmative or negative or question or contraction. Okay. Yeah, continue with closing review and the following up. At the end of the class, teacher review the verbs that the student have problems and for sentence the change to question speciality in the past tense. Okay, finally to remember to the didactic materials. Okay, number 1, a poster with grammatical rules about the verb to be. I use a poster in a blackboard for explain this topic. Okay, in this poster I use subject, present for be, and past for be. Example: I present for verb to be is am, and past for be is was. Okay, and in this poster is rule for making questions. When we are making yes or no questions, we put the verbs to be at the beginning of the sentence. Example: he is from England. Okay, continue with the number 2, poster with grammatical rule about question and statement of the auxiliary verb to be. Okay, this is important. Okay, number 1 is question statement. B is example: is Mark home? Is Mark home? Statement: Mark is home. Okay, continue. Another is the worksheet. Worksheet is worksheet for independent work. Each student work only is and complete the question with the use the verb to be. This is my plan for this class. Remember that the planning of the topic for a class is important because the teacher is a guidance for students learn or give more information. And another is planning is very important because it's helpful for the teacher and students. It's a guide for the students about. Thank you, teacher. Bye bye. See you the next lesson plan.